The 2024 presidential election campaign is already in swing. Obviously, Donald Trump announcing his plans to run for a third for the third time a few weeks ago, and Joe Biden getting more and more questions about his reelection, saying that he'll make a decision with his family around early 2023. But one thing that has been really a staple of primaries for decades and decades now is the order and the fact that Iowa and New Hampshire all already are always at the top of the list for what the earliest two primaries are. This means that candidates from both parties have to spend a lot of time in both of these states in order to gain as much support as possible from the voters in those states, and that gives them momentum for the rest of the primary season. Um, Candidates who don't do well in these two states have a lesser chance of having voters turn out for them in other states if those voters perceive their um chances of winning that candidate's chances of winning the nomination to be lower based on these results. But now the DNC has had a panel that is now changing this decades long tradition. Iowa will be just totally slashed from the early primary list. The main complaints for Iowa, it's the Iowa caucus, and they feel like um there's Iowa is not accurately representing racial minorities. Iowa's population is very much majority white, much higher than the national average. So a lot of people saying that it's not really fair for minority voters to have Iowa so early because Iowa does not have the population to represent them well. So now how it's going to be if this actually goes through is South Carolina holding the first primary February 3rd, then New Hampshire and Nevada on February 6th, Georgia on February 13th, and Michigan on February 27th, as this article says. This proposal agreed on by um, a panel also supported by Joe Biden. But the question is, will this actually happen? And obviously, Iowa and New Hampshire are going to be opposed to this change because it gives their states less voting power and less influence over the election. Then, if we look at a statement being made by the New Hampshire Secretary of State, he's declaring that since the state has a law that requires holding the primaries at least 7 days before any other primary or caucus, they will continue to do that. So there might be legal or partisan battles going on in New Hampshire. Obviously, they have just over a year to figure this out before we reach February of 2024. Um, the DNC going on to declare that if the states schedule their primaries in defiance of the committee, they would automatically lose half the delegates to the convention, which would be a big hit to those states. So New Hampshire, Iowa might be forced to comply here, or they might not, and they might try to work out some other agreements or make some other compromises. But for now, we will be actually seeing a change in the presidential primary order. Obviously, this won't really matter if Joe Biden runs for re-election. He would almost certainly be kind of just like the automatic Democratic candidate. There would likely be very little, if any, primary challengers to him. But if Joe Biden does not run for re-election, then that's where this plan and proposal would actually have a big impact if it has success in going through.